Hi, this is Dr. Motwani. Let's talk about the different methodologies of laser correction of nearsightedness, of astigmatism, and of farsightedness. Let's talk a little bit about using these methodologies to create a better than normal human cornea. The human cornea is a device that actually focuses light. It focuses the light on the nerve cell layer in the back of the eye, which is the retina, and that sends the image to the brain. There is a pupil, which is like an aperture in a camera that actually allows more light and less light in. The cornea itself is sort of kind of a dome-shaped structure, kind of like the front of a lens on a camera, for all of us who actually have used cameras and not just our smartphones. But what happens is that because that dome-shaped structure is not made in a lens factory, it's actually made in a womb. You're a human being. It's not perfect. It has flaws. It has bumps and lumps and ridges. We call those higher order aberrations because we can't give an easy name to anything. Those aberrations will scatter light. And a smoother cornea will scatter light less. The light scatter from aberrations, from any flaws in the cornea, the brain has to process out. So it says to me, hey, look over there at that line. It's a straight line. That bump that may in your cornea that may cause a little bit of a distortion, you're not seeing that. The brain processes that out. It's kind of like the processing system that we have in phones today that sharpens up pictures and that sort of thing and gets rid of irregularities. And so that is interpolation of data by the brain. When you actually then remove that interpolation of data, or that need for that interpolation of data, you get a sharper, clearer image. You're not processing something out, you're just getting that image. And there's an argument to be made that by removing that processing by the brain, you actually decrease reaction time. That when you see something coming at you, there's less time to see what it is, less time for the brain to analyze it because it doesn't have to do much analysis, and your reaction time is thereby faster. Interesting concept for someone who, for example, plays baseball, picks up the ball out of a pitcher's mitt, trying to hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, less brain processing time to pick up that ball, pick up the spin, pick up the stitching, as they say, has a milliseconds more to decide when and how to swing. But we digress from how we make these better corneas. It turns out with topographic guided ablation, we actually have the information because we can use that system, wave-like contura, to actually look at a cornea and say, these are the flaws that need to be eliminated. I created the first protocol, the LYRA Protocol, to actually not only look at those flaws, but see how it was connected to the change in the actual refraction. What that means is we have the distortion from the astigmatism, which is the cornea out of round, and the distortion from the aberrations, which are the flaws, the lumps and bumps. The brain itself actually has to find the point of least visual confusion of all these flaws, and that's what we get when we go into an office and they say 1 or 2 and pick this lens and pick that lens. That's after the brain processing. It turns out it's different when you actually look at it and say, all right, let's just look at the cornea and try to make a better cornea. It turns out we can use the software in the system to say, let's remove these lumps and bumps, and then model the cornea within the software to say, this is how much astigmatism actually exists when you remove the flaws. And that's what we did with the LYRA Protocol with wave-like contura, and we made a more uniform, smoother cornea to increase vision, increase quality of vision, decrease night glare and halos. We have a very high rate of better than 20/20 corrections, 20/15 corrections, which are 50% better than 20/20. This is the first supranormal human cornea. Some of my patients like to call it bionic vision because it's really looking through almost much more of a machine-made like cornea. And so what it does is it decreases the glare around lights because there's less scattering elements. It decreases the glare around headlights. It can actually increase the sharpness of vision at night and during the day. Our studies have shown 80 to 90% 20/15 corrections. it really is creating, for the first time, a better than normal human cornea, a cornea that's closer to a machine-made like surface.